Since June 17th, things have been kind of quiet, right? We had the ceasefire, everything is okay. Market rallies back. IWM makes new all-time highs. A little bit too quiet for here on pre-market prep. Well, things are shaking up a little bit now with NATO. A lot of implications. Implications for oil, perhaps implications for interest rates. And of course, how's it going to affect the rotation in this market? We'll talk economics, oil, SaaS stocks, and private credit with Blue Putnam at 8:35. Folks, we got a lot to cover. Let's get it started. Pre-market prep right now.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, good morning, folks. Looking at our charts brought to you by Trade Station Securities. Born to trade, chart analyze, customize, all in one platform. Trade smarter, move faster, stay in control with the platform built for serious AI traders. Well, folks, you see the red on the screen, but you know what? We know the market doesn't care about the war, right? So we dip. We're already 40 handles off the low. And Triple D is going to say we're going green today. Well, maybe not green, but get some more of these losses back. Let's look at the buck. The buck is up 17 cents, back up at that 101 area. After a rough Friday, that was a rough Wednesday. We're back up here, retracing some of that downward move. TLT, whew, boy, right back down towards the low of the move. Down 16 cents, 84.39. You get bombs flying, you're going to get crude higher, up 333, USO 112 and a quarter, distancing itself from that recent low. Not good for gold and silver. SLV taking it on the chin here, down 2.5%, 53.11. That's a $1.35. And GLD down a buck 467. That's 1.25%. In Bitcoin, easy come, easy go here, folks. Back yesterday, up, giving away 1560 today. That's 2.44% here. 62,420 in those Bitcoin futures over at the CME. Triple D, here we are. Deja vu all over again. There's a war, the market falls, and
well, what's happened before is we haven't had this trade for a month, so people forget. But it's not sell tech on higher oil. So, I mean, tech stocks are getting hammered here this morning, and they were down more, so they've already started the bounce because institutional money managers get into their desk and thinking, hey, we've seen this party before here. And when oil's rallying and the war trade is on, they buy tech and they hide in tech. So bring up your QQQ chart because we've already bounced off the lows. Like, we're not, like significantly off the lows, but we're starting to bounce here a little bit right now here, Joel, if you show this chart here. So I think as institutional money managers keep pouring in here, unless there's something else coming, like unless, we get another negative headline here in the next 90 minutes, I think that the dip gets bought in tech. Brentster, you've seen this trade here too. Bring the Brentster in here because we've seen this trade already. We've seen so many times where the S&Ps and the Qs are down, early trade, retail obviously dominates pre-market trading. They hammer these stocks, and then what happens is the buy the dip institutional money manager emerges and say, well, what's that got to do with AI? Why is SanDisk down 75 points? Why is Micron down 50 points at one time here? So I think the trade here is buy the dip. I'm not saying across the board because with, oil a little bit higher here, you obviously got airlines, and stuff that are going to get hit a little bit, but you're selling off Micron because we got higher oil prices. Micron hasn't cared about oil prices at all this year. So I think it's a ridiculous reason to be selling off Micron.
So, and let's get to the actual news here. President Trump, we have a report. It must have circulated around 4 a.m. Trump said, I think the ceasefire in brackets with Iran is over. I don't want to deal with Iran anymore. Oil was already moving higher last night because we had heard about, some escalation, some potential escalation,
Sure.
if that's fair to say. Consider that oil yesterday morning when the market was opening, when the equities market was opening, oil was around $69. Oil spiked from about $72 this morning around 4 a.m. up to $75 in the last let's call it 30 minutes or so here. We did pull back just a tad in oil because we heard a headline that Trump did not repeat the termination of the interim deal with Iran during a NATO summit. So we are caught up on our news here. Oil up about $5 or so since yesterday morning on all these reports.
Yeah, but off the highs already here too. Like bring USO up, Joel, because we're dipping here already. I mean, USO has hard time holding gains. And is this anything new? Do we honestly think that it was just going to go? Does the market even think that it was just going to go away and they're going to open this straight and we're all going to live happily ever after? No, this is going to go on for years. This is going to go up and down, straights open, straights closed, war, no war. This is going to go on for a very long time. The market has accepted this now. And I don't think, well, I shouldn't say the market accepted, the tech market accepted it. Because there was a lot of stocks that obviously did get hit during this period, and maybe they can get hit a little bit here again. So I'm not advocating go out and load up your airlines Delta at all-time highs. But I do think that tech has been beat up. Like, bring it right back to the tech trade here. Like, bring it to SanDisk, Joel, because maybe this one's the best one to really amplify what we're talking about here. Stock 5 days ago had a high of 23.47. We're down to 15.57. What is that? 800 points of 24 times.
Don't.
30% correction in 7 days. Okay, well, that's pretty significant. I've said, I think the high for the year might be, and I'm still holding to that. But I mean, maybe we're in a bounce time. Like, I think if you're selling SanDisk now, after it falls 30% in 7 days, you're kind of doing it backwards. And I think it sets up that if you're selling it because of a war headline, you're really doing it backwards here. I mean, SanDisk is already off the lows. I don't know the pre-market low, Joel, if you have it there on SanDisk.
Yeah, I do. Let me get the right session up here. Yeah, it got under 1,500. Let me see what
go
it
to a
is.
perfect double bottom from yesterday.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
You're right. Because I looked at this yesterday. Pre-market low 1492. Yesterday's low 1485. Holy
yeah, that's a perfect double bottom from yesterday. And, maybe that won't show up on your charts, your longer term charts, but sure as hell shows up on our pre-market charts. So I think there's the case there that you got huge support of 1,500. That's also the June low. So there's a case here. And this has also been the most loved stock for the last year and a half. So if the institutional money manager is going to defend a level, it's going to be this 1,500. It was defended this morning. I guess I should have woke up with Pratt at 5 a.m. to be trading this puppy here.
Yeah.
But, I'm not as a young buck anymore. I'm 50 years old and I just can't get up at 5 in the morning to trade stocks. But, looking at it, just waking up, I'm like, the logic says buy the dip maybe here. I think you got a good level lean on 1,500. Doesn't mean it goes straight back up to 2,000. No, it doesn't mean that at all. But does it mean it could have a relief pop here at some point in time from the epic selling that we just had over the last 5 days? I think so. And I think we've seen this story before. We've seen tech rally on war headlines before.
1920 would be halfway back, and that would just be, I would love it.
Be a great trade, 1550 to 1920.
Yeah, but but now it's a different complexion, right? Now you got some bag holders in here. Now you got some people are like, 2,000 doesn't bring you 2,500. It brings you, 2,300 and pull them back. But just before we go on to our next topic, I just wanted to mention these oil stocks. It never have believed what oil was going to do. Look at ExxonMobil. Right when the war started, look at that, $175 coming all the way back down to its 200-day. Look at Oxy. We begged Greg Abel. We tried to get him.
Greg Abel needs to listen to pre-market prep. I told him to sell it all at 65. Go back to the show. A couple times. They came back there again. I said it again. Greg Abel, if you're listening, sell that crappy Warren Buffett Oxy position. That's what we said.
Sorry,
Go back to
it's
the
true,
shows in
but
March and April. We were begging him to sell. He didn't listen because I never saw a filing go through. So while he was busy out there, buying whatever the hell he was buying, Kraft Heinz or whatever it was. What was the staple he was buying?
yeah, KHC, yeah.
Was it KHC? Was it KHC?
Wait, no. They don't.
He owns it. It was one. He bought something. He bought Delta, but he bought, what else did he buy? Oh, Macy's. While he was going out there and loading up his Macy's, which has been an actually pretty good performer for him, though.
Wow,
should have been taking that money out of Oxy. That's what he should have been doing. But you know what?
I just want to throw in NVIDIA because Felicia, one of the most loyal members of PreMarket Prep and the Stock Trader Network, she's asking me about NVIDIA. And you know what? When everyone's down and dirty on this thing yesterday, I just
What
lost
did you do?
Oh no. I just
Oh.
Okay.
Warning, Will Robinson. I saw a warning.
I hit too many keys.
Joel's typing too fast.
Keys,
right,
too many
hotkeys.
But hold that thought, Felicia.
You know what? I don't need no chart to talk about NVIDIA.
There you go.
Why?
We don't need no. Well, we love
the
trade
no
station.
chart.
We love the trade
because
station
I said
chart.
this yesterday on the show. If anybody was listening, is 190 the bottom of the new trading range from 190 to 210, and we're going to be talking about that for 6 months. So it bounced off that 190 area. I think the low was 190 and change or 191. So yeah, get back some of those losses, and I will pull up. I want to pull up my my trade station again here.
190.60 was the low from yesterday morning. And so let's pull in another part of this conversation that we have on the macro front here. There also, in addition to, potential escalation, I think definitely escalation in the Middle East, we also have something that I don't know if was on people's bingo card. Trump cut off, apparently, Spain yesterday.
Yeah.
Last night. Yeah, thank you.
Last night when we were sleeping.
And I think, Dennis, your sentiment was that this is flying under the radar a little bit. This headline that, Trump is not exactly super thrilled with Spain right now is flying a little bit under the radar.
Yeah. I don't know if you have the commentary. I can go hunt it down if you want here. Let me just go see if I can actually get it if you don't have it. But last night, he's in Turkey, I think, right now.
Yes.
He said, Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore. Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate. They don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. President Trump says he is cutting off all trade with Spain. So, that could be a little bit of the sell-off here too. So we can't give oil all the credit here, and that's a little bit more of a wild card. We just don't want start cutting off trade all again and start getting a full trade war here again. Obviously we're in a war with Iran. We don't need to start trade wars up again here. So, that could spook the market too. So that is one red flag for the let's buy tech on the dip, because we've seen it sell off on oil before trade. We do have multiple headlines. We need to be careful around this Spain headline that this doesn't escalate further and start saying, I'm done with Europe. And I'm not, and if he starts going that way, then we know the market doesn't like that.
I just put in the chat. I don't know if anyone uses this, but I did see a Spain ETF. It's EWP, Echo
I got it. Yep.
Whiskey Papa.
I don't
know if anyone actually trades it.
It's very thinly traded. It's down 2% here this morning, which isn't surprising. Most of the European ETFs, EFA, you can track it here, is down 1.11% as well. So we can clearly see that there's going to be, some pressure in international markets, which makes a lot of sense. When you've got multiple international headlines here, stuff happening, obviously Middle East, the Spain headline, then, we're going to have pressure here in the European markets, and that's what we're seeing this morning.
And JV in the STN room is making a fantastic point here. Just to say this, the same kind of headline that we saw for Trump sort of denying that he said something about Iran, he also did that here. We also have this headline here for Spain. President Trump did not repeat criticism of Spain during the NATO leaders summit meeting. So yes, this is a wild card, both Iran and Spain today. but we also at the same time have Trump kind of like poo-pooing these just a little bit here this morning.
Sure. Okay. So
Cool.
we've kind of laid out the groundwork and the potential for a tech rally here this morning. So, not trying to call a tech bottom, but kind of am. So it's been a rough few days for the AI trade. And I think some of these names maybe are getting to be, to a point where they test yesterday's lows. Micron just tested the 891, SanDisk, the 1500. We're trying to give you good levels to trade off of. AMD 500. That's a big level there too for AMD because it's been an ugly couple days for them. And is the AI trade over? I don't think so. I don't think Michael Burry is going to be at right in the long run here. I think AI, it's sold off. We needed a correction. We kind of got a little bit of a correction here. I don't think the trade's over.
Yeah, for just going, rely on your dailies on this one. I just wanted to finish up because on NVIDIA, look at all those highs at 200, Felicia. So I think we're not quite, well, first things first, you want to work your way through yesterday's high, but look at that. You got 4 highs stuck in the $200 area. So that will determine whether the new range is 190 to 210 or got more work to do under the 50-day average, maybe 180 to 200, but trying to find a home here for NVIDIA.
The buy the dip has already emerged even across the board here. We can go to some other stocks too because, we're starting to see some green perk up on the screen. Obviously, oil stocks been up all morning. The classic defensive names, XLP and the staples are up obviously too. But, Netflix has went green. Berkshire Hathaway has went green. More defensive, Berk.B. Banks are like just barely red here. Citigroup's down a fraction of percent. Goldman's down the most, but Goldman is tied more to the AI trade because they've been getting all these underwritten. They've been underwriting a lot of these deals in the SpaceX one. We did have a headline too a little while ago too. Blue Origin, I believe this is coming from the New York Times, is set to talk about a potential raise $10 billion to $130 billion. I'm thinking on valuation. So it sounds like they're thinking about an IPO as well. Blue Origin here. There we go. All over the headline there too. So space stocks igniting a little bit here in the pre-market. SpaceX has turned green here. Yes, it's true. The rumors are true. I took a small position in SpaceX yesterday. But what I said is I want a big position in it eventually. So I bought 10% of what I'm intending to own. And I think I'm like, goes down to 140, buy another 10%, down to 130, buy another 10%. Down to 120, buy another 10. If it goes down to $100, me and Pratt are mortgaging our houses and going all in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And,
dollar cost averaging into a company that I want to own.
Yeah. And then I was thinking about it. And then I gave you a daily level that I thought might hold and it smashed right through it. Man, it's going to take a long time for this to actually earning. I mean, they make money, right? We know they make money.
I think they're projected to make at least EBITDA, this year. They've obviously got,
I mean, don't you kind of, before you get really serious about this, wouldn't you like to see one earnings report or 2 earnings reports?
Seems like a very practical take.
Yeah, for sure. Fari, rest in peace. We love you, Fari. Would never even touch a stock until I had 6 months of trading data. So he'd be like, no, thank you, sailor. I'm not in on this one until you have at least 6 months of trading data. No, Captain Tico wouldn't touch it there either. So you can nibble into anything, though.
I just think
rules were made to be broken.
On Trump, on Musk timelines and everything, I think data centers in space is 2035, 2040.
I think you're way long on that timeline. I think that is going to be the talk that's going to continue to resonate here. And one thing you have to consider is this market really, has had lots of rallies where people didn't really care about making money. Think about Amazon. I think SpaceX is kind of like, again, the valuation at 1.75 or $2 trillion might be too much. So that's why I love it at down to 100. Like, you got this thing at $1 trillion valuation. I think, that's getting solid. There's going to be a lot of things, but think about Amazon all those years. They're trading 100 times earnings forever. And everybody's like, it doesn't make any sense. Yet the stock in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014 just kept going higher and kept going higher and kept going higher. Company just wants to see sales growth. And when you're in a growth stage, you don't need earnings, you need growth in sales. So as SpaceX gets more contracts, because people are interested in getting their crap into space, I mean, that's, Starlink, for instance, is expected to grow from what it was 16 billion in sales to 32 billion in sales this year. So their main revenue driver is expected to double. Do we hit the projections? We know Musk always, a little bit, but they're also talking about that RJ note, that was going around the street a couple days ago. RJ, Raymond James, and again, the story is data centers in space. That's like one of the main stories behind SpaceX, but they projected, I don't know if you have the note where that was from 3 days ago.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they were projecting out, I'm getting it, they were actually projecting it out that they thought SpaceX could make as much as, I think they said $60 a share by 2030. That's RJ, not Denny. But I'm like, holy. I'm like, if they hit those numbers, that means it's trading 3 times earnings for 2030. I don't think they can hit these projections. I'm not that optimistic here. But I tell you that they're that optimistic. That's why they put a $700 price target on it. This is obviously after the quiet period. They're super bullish. I think when we keep looking at this, this is going to be a huge revenue growth story. So one, obviously 80 times sales or whatever it is. But they got the Anthropic deal. That's bringing it up there too. There are places, there's a case here, and I've done this I said this with you a month ago. Before I IPO'd. There is a place where you could actually see, SpaceX revenues explode higher, pun fully intended. And you think about, we always say on this stock, the sky is the limit. The sky is not the limit on this stock. This stock's going beyond the skies.
The Kuiper belt.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The Kuiper or wherever. So, I think in the future, SpaceX, if you're looking out to 2035, 2040, I believe firmly that SpaceX could be the most valuable company in the world by 2035. So if you have a long-term time horizon, I'm not take your day trader hat and throw it off, because I think the stock goes lower here eventually. Like, I think it's going to be lower. I wouldn't go all in. I wouldn't be buying 10% of my position. But I'm like, if I'm wrong and it doesn't give me a chance to get it lower, I want to participate at least something, because I'm bullish this company's long-term fundamentals. I'm bullish data centers in space. I'm bullish asteroid mining. Stuff that's going to just come out of nowhere. There's going to be new things and maybe there's eventually a merger with Tesla or something like that. Gets people excited too. Who knows? But I'll bet on Elon Musk here.
I have so much that I want to say here. I think that, okay, so to let's see if I can remember all this stuff here. To the start of a bit of this conversation, Elon Musk has said they want to launch one of their first data centers into space by the end of next year. Don't shoot the messenger. Oh my gosh. He said it. I did not say it. I also think we should clarify here what a data center in space is. This is not like a building. This is like, I was talking a little bit about earlier on PreMarket Prep this week. This is like a satellite. This is like a computing satellite. It has huge wings, and it has a little tiny piece of a little tiny piece of hardware where their actual compute is going to be done. So I think that people are thinking like data centers in space, and they think these like huge things. These things are not really that big. The other thing to mention here, so I'm trying to clear some things up here.
And Brent, you gotta understand, Brent, he loves like arguing with himself. Like, this is going to happen. This is not going to happen.
He's arguing with you, Joel.
Well, I got more for you guys. Just go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
Keep Brent going, because I want to build on this.
Bring it on, you
the last thing that I wanted to say, which one of our smart users in the chat said, is what's going to happen when the IPO lockup period happens with SpaceX. And obviously this is different.
Was making that point, and it's a great point. It probably brings the stock price down.
You gotta assume so. There's a lot of excited SpaceX shareholders out there who probably want to cash in a little bit. There you go. So yeah, Kathy a little commentary on like the trading and the stock, and a little commentary on like the long-term prospects of.
I just gotta say too, is imagine how disruptive to the data center space it would be if Elon Musk does indeed start getting data centers in space. Where is the AI for Caterpillar? Caterpillar, if all of a sudden we get rumors starting that he's going to launch data centers in space in 2027, what does that do to Caterpillar? trading, on this whole data center space, because you don't need to dig up dirt in space. You don't need to do it at all. The data centers in space it's going to be way more efficient. Solar is going to run it all. That's an energy disruptor as well. Probably don't need as much nuclear power as well. Caterpillar's trading 46 times earnings here now because we just think that everything's going to happen with data centers. We got to dig all these things out. That changes the whole game. So, I mean, if Musk can actually accomplish what he's saying he's going to accomplish, and he's done a lot of things that he said he's going to accomplish, just timelines have always been the issue.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stock AI trades that are going to get absolutely hammered. Caterpillar maybe being the main one. Michael Burry, this is one I completely agree with you on. This Caterpillar is an AI stock and trading 44 times earnings is maybe going to go down as being one of the dumbest trades in the history of the stock market, because Caterpillar makes machinery. Caterpillar digs stuff out. Caterpillar is digging for data centers, and it is a data center play. But if Elon Musk indeed does get data centers to space and they're more efficient, and all of a sudden, everybody thinks, oh, it's going to be all cluttered up out there. This was another point you were making, Brent. Like, you look at it and it looks like, oh my gosh, all these data centers in space, where are they going to fit? It's empty up there.
It's
all these
space.
Satellites that we have, it's so massive around us. There's nothing out there. So it's not like all of a sudden we're looking in the skies and we're seeing a bunch of data centers. It's not like that at all.
No.
Go and look, and what we should do is like show a video of what it really looks out there. There is, even with the satellites that are currently up there, it's empty. There's nothing up there. It's too mass and broad. Like, you think about how you got a ball, and now you got all this area around the ball. Think how big the Earth is. Now you got all this area around the Earth. So stop thinking, if you're saying, oh, it's going to get cluttered up there, you now have no idea what you're talking about. There's no cluttering up there. It is huge. Think about the little Earth. Think about like now, like this. Look how much bigger you just made the Earth. Land is not an issue. Data centers in space, man, that is the future. And if anybody can do it, it's Elon Musk.
Okay. And then this is the one thing you don't say when you're having a disagreement with your wife. I'm going to say one more thing, and then that's the end of it. Okay? Timelines. Elon Musk. Okay? Robotaxis. All right. 2027 to 29, they're going to be testing all this stuff. Okay? We're not even at the end of 26 yet. So 2 years of testing probably means 4, right? And then if all the testing goes well, everything goes according to plan, which really should be easy, then it's going to take commercial deployment, okay? Maybe that's 30 or 31 until 33 or 35.
Why?
Okay?
Well, you're talking still, are you going back to data centers in space?
I don't.
The technology is there to launch
Dennis.
this right now.
You just
commercial is there. This is what SpaceX is. It's a launching company. This is what they do. They launch, how much things do they launch into space? The launching is nothing. The launching is here now. They can launch this crap like today if it's built, and obviously that's going to be the thing. But like talking about being able to launch it, what's to test? You build the data center and you launch it up there. Like, I mean, it's not that much to test.
Everything's going to work perfectly. Everything's good. It's all the laser communications they have. All the stuff they build is going to come
failed
perfect.
Launches in 2025. SpaceX
talking
failed
commercial
launches.
deployments.
This is what SpaceX is. It is commercial deployment of things into outer space. This is what the company
I'll
does.
revise 2040 to 2035.
Thank you. Nice.
I will take the under on that. And I'm not advocating. Brentster made the best point, the lockup. The lockup probably brings the shares down. So I'm not advocating it going low up.
That because they did a low float, and it is going to show so much confidence in the company. Musk isn't going to sell anything.
Nobody sells?
And nope, he's not selling a share. These people, we're going to show, man, why would I sell this at 145, 150? And everyone can get short ahead of it. And then, and then there's not as much. So I'd be careful of that trade, because I think that, the low float, Musk already said he's holding on to the shares. I know some people want to cash out, but, let everyone think that you're going to cash out and let them get short, and then don't do it. And then don't do it. And then, how the street likes to mess with people. it's probably going to be the most. You remember the Twitter lockup, Brent? The most anticipated lockup period in the history of the world. This one will be better, bigger. But
So you're not worried about the lockup?
No, I'm not. That of all the things, I mean, I'll watch the price action ahead of it.
Sure.
But as far as like building a mega short position, if I did or if someone was doing it, I'd say be careful, on the disclosures, because you'll get the documents and everything, because that could be a trade that could just. I would love to see him sell it off ahead of the lockup, like really kill it, and then maybe take a flyer on it. So I'm taking the opposite end on that one.
All right.
I'd love to see him kill it too on the lockup. I'd love to see it come down. I was in Pratt and we were in the STN room yesterday, and I was like, come on down to 135, come on down to 125, come on down to 120. I'm going to keep buying this thing on dips, because I do think by 2030, you're looking at a significantly different company with a significantly different revenue stream. I've drank the Kool-Aid on this. I've watched some of the videos. I know Brentster's drank the Kool-Aid here too. I think Elon Musk and SpaceX could be a game changer in data center, and I think it's actually very bad news long-term for Caterpillar.
I'm not going to argue with the cat, unless they got, things they can go up. They launch their own things into space, like go up there and fix
Caterpillar's not a launching company. That's the one thing that SpaceX has. And this brings us back to Blue Origin. There's not a lot of companies that are launching anymore. All was done by NASA. SpaceX does most of it now. Blue Origin's trying, they do the ASTS rocket. They drop it in the wrong orbit, and ASTS tanks on it or whatever. So I mean, this is done mostly. Like, how much does SpaceX launch? Like, let's just ask some questions. SpaceX launches in 2026. Like, they launch stuff, Joel. This is what this company does. It's a launch.
I'm not saying they're not going to launch.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
I'm not saying they're not. You can launch robo-taxis.
Targeted a launch nearly 100 flights. So 100 launches this year. 100.
So they're going to do over 200 this year.
100 this year was scheduled here.
Okay,
so you're one every 3 days. This company launches stuff. That could keep accelerating here. If they start thinking about, all the space that's up there, that's the argument. It's like, where is all these data centers going to eat up our land? Where are we going to power them? The data centers in space argument answers most of those questions. So it makes a lot of sense. Timelines, to Joel's point, is always the issue here.
Yes.
Maybe it is 2035, but I think they can take the under on this one. So, okay. Rocket Labs too. I mean, we could talk a whole space trade. It is ignited, Blue Origin. So again, just repeating, Blue Origin sounds like they're going to try to do an IPO here. Didn't give timelines. The New York Times, I believe, that was reporting that.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Oh, I'll be back in 1 second. We're going to go to the guest, and I got something going on, so I'll be back.
Okay, cool. All right. Do we want to go to Blue?
Yeah, sure. I wanted Dennis to hit him with that, but I'll do it. I'll get him started.
Okay, here we go. Let's run that nice Blue intro.
You're looking at Blue Putnam, Chief Economist of the Stock Trading Network, live in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, good morning.
We're going to be having a few pops later on today.
Nice.
Blue, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Woke up, had a good shower. It's all good.
All good. So I know you came on early and then you left and you came back. Did you hear our little bickering on SpaceX and data centers in space and whatnot?
I did indeed. You guys are well out into space, that's for sure.
Oh no.
I just had to go back to outer space right there. I had an alarm going off, but the alarm's okay. So sorry, I missed your intro. I always like the great Blue intro, and I missed the intro. I got to rewind it just to watch that myself.
I just wanted to see where Blue was, if he could be the mediator here on the SpaceX, and when he thinks we're going to have data centers in space and all this other stuff.
Well, I don't know about being a mediator. I am into Dennis's point that SpaceX, it puts rockets into space, it launches satellites. That's their business, and it's also their business is Starlink. They make money with the space launches themselves. So they got two businesses up there, and they're both pretty good. I'm with Joel on the lockups aren't going to make as much difference. We all know about them. People are going to play them. There's a lot of built up demand for this. People are going to wait for this thing to play out for years as opposed to months. So anyway, it's an interesting debate, but you're somewhere in outer space.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Expectations for the rest of the year. Let's talk rates and let's talk jobs.
Yeah, rates and jobs. Well, the jobs growth, the last report slowed down a little, but we're still producing 60,000 jobs a month. It's a pretty low number, but when you consider the tariffs and the immigration, deportations and everything, the economy is bouncing along at a pretty slow pace, but it's bouncing along at a positive rate. So no recession, but the lower jobs number and the inflation has probably peaked. I know everything about the Iran war is totally confused, and we're going to drag it on a while longer. But if inflation has peaked and the job growth is pretty slow, there's not going to be the rate hawks are going to have to take a break here. Kevin Warsh is going to have plenty of time. This is one of those places where the inflation surge occurred because of a supply shock. There's no fiscal stimulus extra coming like there was in the pandemic, and you don't raise rates into a supply shock. That'll just make things worse. If there was a demand stimulus, then yes, for sure, raise rates, but there's not much. So I think Kevin Warsh has a lot of time. At the July meeting, my big forecast is that he may not even hold a press conference. He doesn't have. He told us, if I don't have anything to say, I'm not going to talk. So no rate hikes and maybe no press conference.
All right. Job creation. Let's talk about that. U.S. payroll monthly net job creation data through June. Anything to worry about here?
No, there's not too much to worry about. It's just going to stay slow. But by the way, it's super volatile. If you hang your hat on any one month, you're going to be wrong 2 or 3 months later. So be careful. But the job growth is slow, but it's positive. I don't see it going into negative territory. There was a big job growth, a drag on growth in 2025, and that was all the federal employees that got retired or fired or laid off. That has totally stopped. That's been stabilized. So, we're okay on jobs. We're going to build some data centers. We're going to add some healthcare workers, and we're going to lose a few more workers in tech and finance.
All right. A big component of inflation is crude oil. Crude oil may drop 50. I'm not, when you get these headlines, I know when you do your work that you didn't know that we're bombing ceasefire on, ceasefire off, or whatever. But talk about supply, demand, and the chances of crude dropping below $50 a barrel.
Well, one of the things we economists say, you don't predict direction and timing in the same sentence. So I've got the direction here. I don't have the timing. I think this could take quite a while. The Iran war is certainly confused. It's on and off. We get tweets over the weekend. It'll change maybe even by tonight or tomorrow. But the case that oil could drop a lot lower is not based on the Iran war. It's based in part on the adaptations to it. Consumers have already adapted. Airlines have cut back international flights. Supply is coming out of Saudi Arabia to the Red Sea. Iraq is trucking oil to the Mediterranean. China is buying less oil, and that's probably going to continue. So a lot of the things that happened in the first 3 or 4 months of the war have really changed the scope. And then, by the way, when the war finally ends, the Middle East countries are going to produce a lot of oil. They need the revenue. They're hurting, and so we're going to be flooded in oil. And the counter to that is, well, we're going to fill up the strategic reserves. No, we're not. The governments around the world that have emptied their strategic reserves need money. They have budget constraints, so they're probably going to raise their defense budgets. So they're going to take that very, very slowly. So I'm definitely a bear in the oil market. But I'm not a bear this morning. You have to worry about the tweets. But by next year, that's when we should be significantly lower.
What if the strait never reopens fully? Like, what if we just get into this situation where these headlines just continue? Like, the market seems to be numb to it, doesn't really care. Does the market care at a certain point in time? Like, I mean, if supply, obviously is restricted because the strait remains half open or, half closed, are going to be full, half full or half empty glass guy. What does that mean? Like, because I don't foresee a world, like I'm just trying to like envision it myself, but I don't foresee a world where Iran just is open and it's just open forever and we're never going to have any problems here again. I kind of see this back and forth thing happening for a long time going forward. Like, does a back and forth thing eventually matter? Maybe not to the markets, but does it matter to the economy?
Well, every country that uses the Strait of Hormuz is trying to figure out how not to use it. They all want a backup plan. They all want to be somewhat resilient. You're going to see some pipelines built that take Kuwaiti and Iraqi oil out to the Mediterranean. You're going to see probably more pipelines going to the Red Sea. They might even build a canal, that bypasses the thing. None of these things happen quickly. So they are 2, 3, 4-year big projects. But they're already starting. And most of the countries are getting a fair amount of oil out. And, like you say, it's not going to be totally closed. The strait will have some partial flows. So I don't think if the strait were to totally reopen, then what I'm talking about happens faster. If the strait stays partially closed, it takes a lot longer, but it still happens.
Okay, let's shift focus. We always talk about rotation in the market, and we've been talking about damage to software, SaaS stocks here. They give you a couple days of hope and then beat you back down. And not all of them have responded here, but, talk about the damage to these SaaS stocks. And is there any hope for investors in this sector?
Well, there's plenty of hope, but hope isn't a strategy. The issue here, it comes from private credit mostly, and a little bit from private equity. When you're a really big private credit firm, you need really big clients, and a lot of the software as a service companies are private, and some of them are quite big. And so the private credit business that exploded over the last 3 or 4 years. Added a lot of assets, made a lot of loans. A lot of those loans are underwater. So that's your problem with private credit. And a lot of those were in the software as a service sector, the SaaS sector. And so those companies, when your credit's not too good, that means your equity's even worse because credit is a superior claim to equities. So we don't, it's not AI anymore that's driving what's going on in SaaS. AI has had their impact, but until we kind of solve the private credit thing, I think these companies stay under some pressure. I do believe that 70-80% of the damage has been done. So you can be a bottom fisher here, and I won't argue with you as long as you're very patient and can take many years.
I mean, these charts, Workday, like we're talking about companies that have given back not just like a year of gains, but years of gains. We got Workday coming back to where it was at the bottom in 2020 and COVID when the markets were closed and the economy was closed. We have CRM trading down back to the 2020 lows as well. We're talking about companies giving up 6-7 years of gains. So, I mean, the market is pricing like their revenues and their earnings are going to go down because if they obviously continue, and some of these companies have been priced down to multiples, in the low teens. And these are tech companies that haven't really shown a decline in their earnings. They're still showing some record earnings here. So we haven't seen anything, but the market's anticipating the decline in the earnings here. Is the market just wrong? Or is it really, there is going to be some disruption here?
There's going to be some disruption, but I think the market has way overdone the amount of pessimism over future earnings. Most of these companies, like you pointed out, they're making good money, and they're still picking up clients. Workday's adding clients. That's not the issue. The issue is how much competition they're going to get in the future from an AI startup or something like that. And I don't think that it's not very easy to challenge somebody as entrenched in the market in their particular sectors, like the Workday and HR services and things like that. That is a really complicated business. So I think the AI people have overdone it, but I do think the credit squeeze and the credit issues last a little longer. So, but one of the other things is that if you're interested in playing in the private credit market, you don't have to do private credit. You don't have to give up liquidity and for years and years and things like that. You can just buy these private credit companies that produce the funds that are public. I wouldn't necessarily do that today, but somewhere down the road, they're going to do better. These are good companies.
Like Blue Owl, like, obviously these stocks, have been hit really hard here too, like down from $25 just 2 years ago down to $9. You've got a couple other ones that you had on the screen there too. I mean, they've talked about Eris Management,
Yes.
BX, KKR. I mean, all of these stocks have been killed. So, I mean, and to a point where, they still are making good money. I mean, some of these earnings, like Blackstone's a 4.1% dividend.
Yeah, there's no problem with their earnings, and it's all about future earnings. And I think we've overdone the bet on just how much AI is going to disrupt these types of companies. AI it's a real revolution. I mean, hey, I use it every day, but it's overdone on these stocks. But I think they're in a trading zone now. They're not ready to really come back up until we solve get through another quarter of private credit and maybe have fewer redemptions.
Let's talk Bitcoin. This is the elephant in the room. The hodlers are saying we've seen these crypto winners before, and we know eventually Bitcoin just goes back up to all-time highs. People like myself are saying it's a little bit different this time because the masses are in it. Before on these crypto winners, the masses weren't in. Now institutions are in. There's big money in here. And I don't know if there was ever a huge institutional flow in here, but the mass retail audience is in this thing here now. So, and then we look at MSTR, and you can talk about that one here too with Michael Saylor. I mean, the stock's gone from $500 to $94, and looks like it's in a whole lot of trouble here. Is this just another buying opportunity for Bitcoin in this overall long-term uptrend, or is it different this time?
I'm with you, Dennis. It's different, and for your reason, the Bitcoin market has matured. And all of the previous rallies brought in a new set of buyers. Mm-hmm. We got futures and buyers came in. We got ETFs and buyers came in. We got institutions and buyers came in. But now all of the institutions are in. I even hear Vanguard is going to hire a head of Bitcoin. And they're kind of the last people to come in. And so that means you can't depend on another set of buyers. And so, for that reason alone, I'm worried about Bitcoin having any kind of rally. It can have a little rally from here because it's got a big fan club. And it's got some people that'll come in and buy the dips. But, you got that gorilla in the room that might have to sell that strategy. Michael Saylor's strategy. So that overhang is tremendous. Now that, they hold 4% of all the Bitcoins ever issued. And a lot of the Bitcoins are locked up. So they're a big player in the market. I mean, what I like to tell people is that, when you're that big a player, you're playing poker with your cards up and you're playing with some Wall Street sharks. It's just a dangerous game, but it's not over. Bitcoin survived the $60,000 level with sales from strategy. That was pretty impressive. I wouldn't have bet on that. So we have to wait and see. But, it's not going to rally like it used to, but it doesn't have to go down either. It's got a lot of fans.
Yeah, article by Blue, a special to the Stock Trader Network was put out on June 22nd about Bitcoin strategy and micro strategy. That's when it was trading at the 110 level, traded 120 that day. Hit a bottom of 81.81 on June 26th here, so it's climbed back, but surely has unperformed, Bitcoin itself. And I remember one thing, Dennis has always said is, if you want to own Bitcoin, own Bitcoin. There's all these other proxies out there, all these other things. If you're bullish Bitcoin, then just get in there. That'll give you best return. Nice bounce off the 60K level. Intern in the Stock Trader Network chat is asking about the yen and the dollar here. Oh, look at that yen. $162.
Wow, yes.
Talk to me about it in the dollar.
Well, the yen has the lowest interest rates of all the major currencies. They can barely get to 1%. And they do have, they spent decades trying to get inflation started. Now they actually have some, not very much, but they have 2 or 3%. So the yen is definitely one of the favored currencies to be on the short side of when you're buying the high interest rate currencies, otherwise known as emerging markets, where there's some real interest rates. And what's happened with the dollar has also taken hurt the yen some, because we're debating here not whether the Fed will cut rates, but whether they will raise them or not raise them. I'm in the not raise camp. But that means that the dollar, with rates not coming down in the U.S., the yen is a little less attractive. So the yen's got a lot of things going against it. They will intervene occasionally in foreign exchange markets. That creates noise. It creates volatility. It knocks out some of the shorts, but it's not a permanent strategy. Their interest rates need to go a little higher, and they're going to be very slow about that.
Okay. All right. That's Blue Putnam, chief economist, Stock Trader Network, putting out great content, written content, as well as joining our show every Wednesday. Blue, I will remember to bring that Stock Trader Network credit card, and maybe we'll go and get you some swag, get you some national championship swag there in Ann Arbor. Always great.
All right,
great,
go Blue.
It'll be great to meet you in person, folks. Blue Putnam, Stock Trader
Thank you.
Network, chief economist.
Thanks, Blue.
All right. Breaking news. Do we have some breaking news or potential news?
Well, AeroVironment, we
yes.
talked about this one. Go, Brent, go.
No. Yes, we have been talking about this one because we knew back on sometime in middle of June, that they were going to host an investor day today. That investor day is ongoing right now. As of about 20 minutes ago, it started at 8:30 a.m. We do have AV shares, which spiked. Let's call it $8 or $9 here. I wasn't listening to the call myself, but looking over at X, I think that there was some solid fiscal year 30 organic sales growth guidance. They are expecting organic sales growth 15 to 20% in fiscal year 30. They are also expecting an annual R&D investment of 7 to 9% and adjusted EBITDA about 18 to 20%. I'm not totally sure, but I think that is what got the stock going here this morning.
Yeah, they're expecting revenue to double from current levels by 2030. So expecting a doubling of revenues in the next 3.5 years. So that's got it moving here too. We talked about this one. The setup was there. It was in Fee's calendar here. We had it long last night. I have it long in my kids' RESP account still. It's been, a stock that obviously, had the big boom, and now it's, it had busted, and now it's starting to try to fight to claw its way back. Stock's still in an awful downtrend. That's the overall issue, but they can grow revenues here. Maybe the story ignites again.
Two things just real
Go
quick.
ahead. Yep.
Technicals, you're not even at yesterday's high here, folks. So 177.10, that's a big area. And if you're looking for a more sustained uptrend here, let's build a base over that 50-day at 174.23.
We do have one of the STN news desk reporters who is looking into when the spike happened and comments that were coming on the call. And we think that it could be something related to this comment. Quote, in the last 2 decades, we have been involved in every conflict that the U.S. has faced around the globe. Our solutions have been critical, not just a small piece, but a critical part of the U.S.'s track record in success in competing in these markets and actually fighting these conflicts in the last 2 decades consecutively. Thank you to our news desk there.
The S&Ps continue to rally here. Sometimes we just got to listen to ourselves because we have a tech rally here happening here that we gave to you guys at the beginning of this show. It has continued here. Bring up the Qs. Qs continue to rally here as well. Tech doesn't care about these sell-offs, so we've continued to rally over the last hour in the Qs. SanDisk is now down only 2% after being down over 100 points last night at one point in time. It's on the comeback trail too, and Micron clawing its way back as well. So could these stocks go green? I think they could. I think dips should be bought on these stocks, at least from a trading perspective. At least today. That's my day trading hat on. So
all right. We were talking about beating down stocks.
Yeah.
And like in China. And we had a guest on Stock Trader Network that was very cautious to market. But one of the stocks he was bullish on was Alibaba. What that is such a bearish looking chart. It's bullish.
So we do have Alibaba shares trading up pretty substantially over $100 here, over 105, over 107 briefly. We heard that there was some commentary by Alibaba management that they are more optimistic into their earnings report, which probably isn't going to be till the end of August. I am looking for the comment here real quick. Give me 1 sec. I had it a minute ago. The company pointed to narrowing losses in its hotly competitive instant commerce business in the June quarter, while overall profitability held steady. I'm looking at a Yahoo Finance article here from this morning highlighting why we think Alibaba shares are trading higher. Are there other China names that seem to be responding
Yeah,
positively
Baidu
with
is
this?
trading up. FXI is trading up. So we have a decent rally in China. We've been saying about the laggard trade, and the laggards have turned July 1st, the first day of the year. I guess it was the first that we traded on? Anyway, since the very first day in trading in July, the laggards have led. And China has kind of clawed its way back on part of that, but not as much so as maybe some of the software names, some of the other names. That is continuing on here this morning, so it has been a laggard market once. But what I will say is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Every time Baba pops 10%, 12% is just another selling opportunity. Here's another 10% pop that's starting to already fade here in the pre-market. Does it, go all the way and give it all back? I don't know. I own in the long-term account. I think it's ridiculously undervalued, but nobody cares. It's a hated story. I don't know if anything today turns that story around.
Okay. All right. S&P's just got back halfway on the session and giving a little bit back. So we'll keep an eye on it. 75, 15 area. I'm sure your stocks. I did see the little rallies in the chips. So see if
Trump
that
is speaking live
there.
now with Zelensky. I sorry, I have trouble saying his name. Ukraine's president.
I think
obviously
he did it.
there.
Yes.
So so he's speaking live right now at the NATO summit here. Obviously, he says whatever he wants. The earlier comments there that he hates Spain at the NATO summit, which is so interesting to go over there and say that we're done with you guys. But we know Trump says whatever he wants. So commentary is still continuing to happen. So expect more gyrations in the market as Trump's actually speaking live right now. And nobody moves the market more than Trump.
More than the Trumpster.
Yeah. Is that what he's saying? Trump will probably hit them again tonight. So he's talking about more escalation again tonight. I mean, he plays out his playbook. He tells you what they're going to do. So if they're going to come in here and hit them again tonight, probably going to spook people when you start hearing the explosions again tonight. So S&P's just dipped a little bit on that commentary here. They'll forget about it by midday. But, tonight, if you obviously see explosions start happening after the market closes, and we know he doesn't blow anything up during the day. So he likes to wait till the market's closed at 4 o'clock. So maybe he doesn't realize the market trades after hours, but it does. So is it going to be the 401 explosions again? Possibly. It's true. He did a 401.
It's funny because
he's like, you want to wait till the market was closed.
Yeah, I mean that the 4 a.m. I think he was up for
401 p.m.
Yeah,
he did the explosion at 4:01 p.m. the one day last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever the last explosion was. Remember that, Brent? It's right after the 4:01. They waited, and they had it was I think it was Reuters or somebody was reporting, and they said that they intentionally waited till the market was closed. I mean, the market's trading 24 hours. The futures are trading now. So, okay, preview some guests here for me, Mr. Brent Slava.
Wait, how did we get to 9 o'clock already?
Great.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we were just arguing about SpaceX so much and taking out 147. Oh no. Anyways, all right. Oh, perfect timing. And I can't give myself credit. I have to give credit to Zoli. Eric Kroll on tomorrow.
Perfect timing. Right after SpaceX
IPO,
right before SK Hynix comes to the market. We're thinking on Friday.
Yep. And we'll talk to Louis Sykes, our crypto expert. That will be Friday, July 10th. Also, for you non-STN members at 1:30, Options Unchanged with CC Legator. Humorous, laid-back approach to the markets. We'll see what he's looking at for. Well, first of all, if you have wild stocks that you like to trade and you want a strategy for it where you can definitely know how much you can lose, then that's what intern does with CC Legator. He says, I just put on, and then like, and CC just shakes his head and he's like, wow.
Who's doing this trade?
Yeah.
Where's this person? I want to talk to them.
9
Yeah.
o'clock news dump. There's like 30 headlines. I'm trying to leaf through them and help the team out
I
here as
didn't
well
see
as we're
anything,
going.
Dennis. Initially, I gave a quick scroll through. There was nothing that stuck out. We are tracking press releases in real time as they are coming out. I'm looking at a press release wire right now, but folks, we are also using price scanners to show us stocks that are moving and then go find a press release. Oh, here's the news or whatever. So just to describe a little bit of our process,
That
but
sounds
Dennis,
like what Dennis has been doing for about 20 years.
I didn't see anything.
We're using
to
AI to do it
highlight.
now. AI is faster.
AI. Oh, yeah. Yep.
There
Okay.
was a Palantir release. What is this? No, I don't think this is anything.
I don't
Nothing
see
really-
anything really moving off, like
Yeah.
jumping out at me here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like see if there's anything. Like there's like 25 companies that we're going here. So news team highlighted.
Thank
smaller
you.
companies,
Thank you,
DOT.
Fee. Thank you, AJ. Thanks to Downtown Nick Brown covering those news wires for us. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to continue the conversation over in the SDN think tank right now. I'm heading over there. So, and obviously, we also have CC Gators 1 o'clock show.
1:30.
Options Unchained. Or 1:30. Sorry, 1:30. Options Unchained.
All right, we'll see you over in SCN, y'all. Later. Thanks for watching PreMarket Prep. Hit like, hit subscribe. Join the SCN think tank at stocktradernetwork.com.